Hello friends, so today we are going to study centrifugal force. So basically, firstly what most people don't remember or understand that it is a pseudo force. It is not a real force. Okay, it is not a real force. It is not real. It only appears in it only appears in rotatory frame when we go in the frame of the rotatory cabin or whatever. I will show you an example. Rotatory frame. Okay, it only appears in rotatory frame. So firstly, let us take an example right here. See, assume that this is the center and this is a rod. In which this is a cabin. Okay, this is a cabin, and here a small block of mass m is kept, and this is rotated right here with an angular velocity omega. Okay, and there are two observers, that is one here, observer number 1 and observer number 2. Observer number 1 is inside the cabin and observer number 2 is observing the rotation outside the cabin from the ground, you can see. Okay, so just like we did in pseudo force, if you don't know what is pseudo force, you can watch our NLM playlist and there is pseudo force. Okay, so you can easily understand the concept. So for this observer number 2, first we are writing for observer number 2. What will you see? That the ground is applying an equal and opposite force, normal to the ground, normal from the ground, okay, from the cabin or whatever, and his own weight mg, that is its own weight mg, that is pushing it downward, and a third force, that is normal reaction from the wall. I'm just gonna call it nw. Okay, that is normal reaction from the wall. So what will I write here? I will write firstly n is equal to mg, as there is no acceleration in vertical direction, and also I will let nw is equal to m into a centripetal. Okay, m into a centripetal, because n normal of the wall is only responsible for this acceleration. There is acceleration a centripetal in this direction. All right, and we can write it as nw is equal to m, it is v squared by r, and we can write v as omega r. It will be m omega r by r whole square, that is equal to, we all know, m omega squared r. I am just writing it here, nw is equal to m omega squared r. So you will get these two equations. Okay, now for observer number 1, now he is in a rotatory frame. So what will happen? He won't observe any centripetal acceleration. Okay, so I'll just show you here. This man, observer number 1, also has AC here, and this block that was kept here also has AC here. So when we go in his frame, we have to apply an equal and opposite AC here, so they both will cancel out. Okay, so in his frame there will be no centripetal acceleration. Okay, no centripetal acceleration pushing him towards the center. Okay, I hope that you can understand all of this. If not, please watch our NLM playlist, Newton's laws of motion playlist. All right, so now what will happen when we draw the FBD here, and you will get the same normal from the ground, and mg it will apply on the floor, and here normal nw from the wall will act. Okay, nw from the wall will act. But now what will I write? N is equal to mg, equation number 1 here, and now what will come here? There is no acceleration, so what will I write? I will just write nw, but what it is balancing? It is balancing nothing. So we have to apply an equal and opposite force m omega squared r here. Okay, because to satisfy the equation here. Understood? Now if we don't apply this, then the laws of motion will be wrong, because if we don't apply this, then nw will act and the block will keep sliding here, and there is also no acceleration. So how will it slide? So in his frame, m omega square will have to act here. If it will not act here, then the laws of motion will be wrong. I hope that you can understand this. Okay, so this is an equal and opposite force that appears in a rotatory frame and it always acts out radially from the center. Okay, always acts radially outwards from the center. Okay, understood? Clear? Because we can see that this always acts radially outward. Okay, understood? This concept is just like pseudo force when we talked about in Newton's laws of motion. Okay, now we will do these two illustrations which will help grip our topic, centrifugal force. Okay, so now let's first read this question. It is a very easy question. Now, having introduced centrifugal force, a particle of mass m connected with a hanging bob of mass m, capital M, by an inextensible thread of stationary relative to the rotatory frame. Alright, what it is telling that here there is a mass small m and here there is additional mass m that is hung here. Okay, got it? And what it is telling next, that the coefficient of static friction between the particle and the platform is mu. What we have to find? Maximum angular speed omega max and minimum angular speed omega minimum. Okay, so first when we go into the rotatory frame, when we go into the rotatory frame, this is the center, this is the mass m, and tension will act here. And when we are rotatory frame, I told you that we have to apply what? Centrifugal force only appears in rotatory frame. So we are in rotatory frame here, so it will be m omega squared r force acting here outwards. Okay, understood? Now what will happen? Now friction is also present, but the bead has tendency to slide outwards. Because of this force, so it will obviously act in inward direction, mu into normal, and normal will balance mg. Okay, how it will balance mg? Because this is a circle and this is a normal and this is mg. Okay, so normal will balance at the mg because there is no acceleration in vertical direction. Alright, and obviously we also know from here that t is acting here and mg is acting here, and there is no acceleration in vertical direction, so we can already write t is equal to mg. Okay, so from here we can write that t plus mu n is equal to m omega squared r, and t is equal to mg. Okay, t is equal to mg, so mg plus mu mg, normal is equal to mg only. I'll just write here, is equal to what? M omega squared r. So omega max, this is the omega max. Okay, because we took omega max because it has tendency to slide outwards. For omega max, it will have the tendency to slide outwards. Okay, because it is increasing, it is the maximum angular velocity. And what will happen here? This will be m plus mu m into g upon m r. Okay, so this is our formula for omega max. Now for the second equation, we have to find omega minimum. So it is pretty clear what we have to do. In this b part, the tension will act here and m omega square r, it is radially outwards here. And now this is the omega minimum, so it will have the tendency to slide inwards, but friction will prevent that, so it will obviously act in outward direction. And obviously, like previous case, t will be equal to mg and normal will be equal to small mg. Alright, like just we did here and here. Okay, so what will happen? That t plus mu n, t is equal to m omega squared r plus mu n, and it will be mg. I will just shift it here on the opposite side of is equal to, it will be minus mg, is equal to m omega squared r. So this will be omega minimum. Omega minimum will be how much? Just solve this. It will be m minus m upon into g upon mr. So this is the formula for omega minimum. See, this is very easy. We only have to apply when we go in rotatory frame. if we don't do in rotatory frame, it will be a little bit hard to solve. Okay, so we went in rotatory frame and we applied simple Newton's laws of motion equations, nothing else. There is much to do. Okay, so now this is the last question in this lecture. It is also very easy question, so first let's read it. A small wedge whose base is horizontal is fixed to length vertical rod as shown in the figure. So this is the rod here, this is the rod. Okay, so the sloping side of the wedge is frictionless. So here friction is 0. That means coefficient of friction is 0, and the wedge is spun with constant angular speed omega about vertical axis as shown in the figure. What we have to find? We have to find that the value of angular speed omega for which the block of mass m does not slide down the wedge, the normal reaction on the block by the wedge when the block does not slip relative to wedge. Alright, it is a pretty clear question what we have to do. So let's first draw the FBD. Here it is spinning with angular speed omega, and here the block of mass m is kept and angle of incline is theta, and this length is also L. Alright, so I told you we have to obviously go in rotatory frame to solve the questions, these type of questions. So it will obviously have m omega squared r in this direction. Alright, so the question is what do we have to take the value of r. So we have to take, I told in previous lectures, always the perpendicular value of r. Okay, always the perpendicular length, that will only be the r, not this. We don't have to take m omega square L already. Okay, I already have told this in a few times in the previous lectures, so please be careful with that. And we can write r as how much? L cos theta. Okay, so here r we can replace it by L cos theta. Alright, pretty easy. So now it's very simple, and we just have to draw the FBD now. So wait, mg will act in this direction, mg, and mg sin theta will act in this direction, mg sin theta, and mg cos theta in this direction. So when we break the components of this force also, m omega squared L cos theta. So what will happen? This angle is also theta, so in this direction it will come m omega squared L cos theta. This was here already here, and again cos theta component, and in this direction it will come m omega squared L cos theta. This was the value, and it will be multiplied by sin theta. Okay, pretty clear. So now we don't want it to slip down the wedge, so obviously these two components will have to be equal. Alright, so what will happen? Mg sin theta is equal to m omega squared L cos theta, cos squared theta, because cos theta is multiplied 2 times, so m and m will cancel, and omega will be equal to under root g sin theta by L cos squared theta. Alright, this was the answer for A part. We are doing A part. Okay, this was the A part, and we needed to find the normal reaction on the block by the wedge. So normal reaction, I forgot to draw it. It's okay, because normal reaction will act in this direction, so obviously it will support these two forces. So it is pretty easy. What we have to do now, it will be normal is equal to mg cos theta plus m omega squared L cos theta into sin theta. Okay, into sin theta. Understood? And we just have to substitute this value of omega here. So what will happen? Normal reaction will be equal to mg cos theta plus mg sin squared theta by cos theta. It will come like this. When you solve it, it will come like this. So mg, here it will come cos squared theta, and when we take it common, it will come sin squared theta in the bracket, and here downwards it will be just cos theta. So we all know cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1 because of trigonometric equations. So normal will come out to be how much? mg by cos theta, that is equal to mg sec theta, we can write here. Alright, so it was pretty clear what we have to do in rotatory frames. We just have to apply equal and a radial outward force, that is m omega squared r. Okay, and it will, we just have to balance this. Alright, so now if you in this question, if you don't want to do it that way by applying centrifugal force, you can also in these questions you can also do it in simple normal way. So I will just show you here. So in A part we did, this was the bob and this was tension acting. So for omega maximum, friction will act here, and we all know that there is an inward acceleration AC here. So we will write T plus mu n is equal to MAC, that is equal to AC is m omega squared r. See, our equation is coming at the same as here. Okay, and for B part, what will we do? For B part here, tension will act, and for it is minimum, so it will, friction will act outwards. And so now there is always also AC acting here. So we will do T minus mu n is equal to m into AC. See, the equation is coming same here. Also we did like this only. Okay.